Hello there, welcome back to Marketing Matters, the show that encourages you to take a deeper look into your marketing. I'm joined today, as ever, by Ashley Hallam. Good afternoon, Ash. How are we?
I'm all good, thank you, Dan. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you very much.
Good.
Ash, I wanted to talk to you today about a hot topic in marketing as we go into 2025. And it's a bit of a deep end jump, but AI. AI.
Yep.
Now, AI is obviously something that isn't going away. I think I said before, whether people want it to or not, it's staying, and it seems to just be rising as time goes on. So, just from your point of view, where are we at with AI in today's world? From your point of view,
Well, AI has definitely sort of become more sort of prevalent and relevant in the last probably year, 2 years in a big way. So we can't necessarily say it's not been around for the last probably 4 or 5 years because you say you think about things like Siri on your iPhone or Alexa's. I wonder if that's going to set someone's off.
I was going to say, if we set someone's Alexa off, then apologies.
Yeah, just add something to their shopping list.
Oh, that's a good idea. We could have some fun with that one.
Yeah,
I think we might lose viewers, and we're trying to gain viewers and listeners at the minute. So
we could, but whatever. But we digress.
Write that down.
But yeah, so it's always sort of been around, I think. But in the last sort of, you see the big one really being ChatGPT has been the one thing that's taken the sort of the world by storm.
Yeah,
has really taken over because it's that instant sort of answers and reaction that you get.
I think that's
from
when people kind of set up and like, oh, okay, so we can use this because AI is not a new thing. Ever since the birth of Google, AI has been artificial intelligence serves you up suggestions for websites based on a search term you enter into it. So, that's not new. But I think what's happened in the last sort of 18 months is that AI has become more within reach of the end user and in day-to-day tasks where it wasn't before.
Yeah, and I think it's probably getting a lot more investment and time sort of dedicated to it now than it ever has done because it's so, it can be so useful for so many different people, businesses, all over the world. I was at a talk, or a conference last year, and we'll get him on the show. But David O'Brien, who we know quite well, he's big on AI. He's massive on AI.
He's a fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, he's a fountain of knowledge, and he's not. He's always talking about it, but in a good way because he's always supplying and sort of giving.
Is that a
challenge
for somebody to have a conversation with David O'Brien that doesn't involve AI?
Yeah, you'll do.
Have 5 minutes with David O'Brien without talking about AI. You'll get a medal. We'll give you something.
Yeah, there is more to David. David's a great bloke. We're not saying he's just AI, but I remember him saying that the AI is sort of more powerful than fire and electricity.
Yeah, he said it's like it's got the same impact as fire and electricity had when that was brought into the
and
world.
obviously AI's is it's always learning, so it will be this. It'll only ever be this smart. What's the saying?
It will be. Today is the worst it will be.
That's the one.
It's going to improve day on day. It's like the old saying of like, today is the youngest you'll ever be, and it's the oldest you've ever been. Someone's probably got that on a plaque somewhere in their house.
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. But that's the premise of it.
Yeah, and he'd said it was something like it was AI. The comparison of sort of the knowledge base of AI to a human is the same as Einstein to an ant. So AI is far smarter than we could ever really be.
Incredibly powerful, yeah.
Yeah, so therefore it's very, very useful to us as people and us as businesses. So it's grown massively, and it's sort of hitting businesses now, I think, where it's like, oh, okay, well, how do I use it? Do I need to?
Well, it's gone from this thing that before, because as I say, AI has always been around, and you just have to go on TikTok or Instagram, and AI is powering what you see through all the algorithms and things that you interact with and like and watch for longer than others. It will serve you up more of that. That's all AI. So it's gone from that sort of techie stuff in the background to, oh, this is a tool that I can actually use to help me on day-to-day tasks within my work life. And I think that's what's got people really excited. So just on that, how do we use AI? Because obviously we are a two-man team here at Nettl. People know us. And, you know, there's a lot to do in a marketing agency. We're very, very busy people. So, you know, AI has helped us in quite a lot of ways become more efficient with our time management and, you know, delivering on tasks. So how do you use it on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's not necessarily, and we're not going to necessarily say it's going to take over like our life. So for us, we use it we don't use it massively on a big scale. You know, a lot of the stuff we'll produce will still be from us.
Oh yeah.
But we use it, I think, and how probably a lot of people use it for things like your blank page syndrome type of thing. So it can be, you know, we'll be putting together, it might be something as simple as we want some sort of content ideas for our own personal LinkedIns, right? And we won't necessarily then say, right, okay, can you write me a LinkedIn post? We won't do that because we obviously it needs to come from us. It's still that personal touch because it's changing. AI it's challenging people's trust in businesses, and
that's a really interesting thing. Yeah.
So which is the power of, you know, that's where small businesses really can thrive, because it's all about a personal interaction and a personal service. So we won't necessarily, it will be more to get them ideas onto a page that we can then develop ourselves and really kickstart.
Yeah.
So it eliminates probably a half an hour, 45-minute job, let's say, of us having to sit down together and go, right, okay, let's just think of all these ideas and think we can skip that part and get into the real sort of into the depths of it. I know that it's developing into sort of on your side, sort of the website bits. You can, you know, AI, you know, you almost generate a web page as such.
You can. I don't think it's anywhere near good enough. It kind of was a late development, kind of summer, autumn of last year. It kind of became a thing, and I kind of tapped into it for, all right, let's give it a go. Let's see what it can do. Can it streamline processes? Can it make things more cost effective for our customers? Things like that. It will do you something, but it just doesn't have the life to it. And, you know, we'll talk about this when we come to talk about brand identity and having a unique identity, something that sets you apart from all of your competition and everybody else. I think that AI-driven design, AI-driven web still lacks that kind of unique nature and a bit of authenticity, and it lacks, in the same way as kind of using stock photography lacks from showing your actual people and your actual space.
Yeah,
it's in the same kind of thing. So everything kind of just looks the same. It's as if it's kind of doing what a template on a Wix website or Squarespace or something like that will be able to give you. You can drag something, you can change the text, change an image.
Yeah.
You've got a website. It looks half good, but it isn't reflective of your brand. And I think that is where you go from kind of here of having something that looks all right to here of, you know, you start to, I mean, just look at any top business's website, and we'll talk about this in the future, I'm sure, in great depth. But at any top business, it just, everything reflects brand, and you just can tell it's not template driven.
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to that. I say it's challenging people's trust. It's you don't want to put something out there that's not reflective of your brand. And as much as AI will be great, and we think it is great, but it's more that we're working, you know, with it in the background. It's not our primary sort of way that, you know, we're not using it for everything to do everything.
And the way you talked about it being helping you get over the blank paper syndrome, I think is a real key bit for it. And that was the first thing I thought of when ChatGPT came about. I thought this is amazing because you save, like you said, that kind of half an hour, 40-minute brainstorm of, you know, snapping some ideas out. You can ask ChatGPT to come up with a topic, say, I don't know, Dan and Ash want to record a podcast and we can sit down and say, oh God, there's so much to talk about. Where do we start? asking kind of AI driven software to kind of give us a list for us to kind of pick out and say, oh, actually, that's quite good. And it sparks something in there for us to go, and you can talk about this, and this.
Yeah.
So I think people will use AI for stuff and think, done, say if you like writing a blog or something like that. But I always like to say, use it to help you rather than replace a job.
Yeah, I don't think something like a blog will never necessarily say, get it to write you one, because that's not gonna, we talk about blogs a lot. It won't include the words you want it to include necessarily, or it might do, but not in the ways. And it isn't as personal. Say if it's, especially if you're a small business, like us, we're a 2-man band. This is Nettl. You were sat in the front of Nettl. I've never had them, but this is us.
Me and you,
you and him,
me and him.
But it's only us two, so we want to get our personalities as such across.
That's why we're doing this.
And you can't but you can't do that if you're saying to ChatGPT, write me something this, or and you'll see it all the time. It'll be really it will almost be really professionally written, and it's like, that's not
there's certain words that you think, I know that person, he doesn't use that word,
or
she doesn't use that type of phrasing or whatever. So and that's not to say that obviously AI won't be able to talk like you. You can train things like ChatGPT, and David O'Brien will talk at length about this.
He will, he will.
But for me, it still lacks a bit of authenticity.
It does.
Lacks the real you, and for me, that is where we are in the business world. People will always have done and always will buy from people.
Yeah, and that's why we say, thinking about what we use it for, that's why we're very minimal in what we do use it for.
And that's just one area. That's just kind of talking about ChatGPT, but there are other areas of AI that can be tapped into. We use it for scheduling our workday.
Yeah.
So we use a system called Reclaim AI that can tap into our calendar, feed it the tasks, how long it's going to take, kind of rough time estimations, when the deadline is. And suddenly we've got our calendar full of what we're doing day to day. It's prioritized things for us. It will warn us saying, look, you're going to be pushed for time on this. So we are able to help. We're able to inform clients in advance to say, look, we might need a bit of extra time to deliver on this because of how busy we are at the minute, things like that. We know when we need to bring a bit of extra help in to help us meet deadlines. That use of AI for me, the kind of repetitive day-to-day tasks.
Yeah.
It takes away that 20 minutes, half an hour in the morning of figuring out, or the start of the week, of how does my week look here? What have I got to do for when, and what order am I doing this?
Yeah. And if you're like me, you sit there for 15, 20 minutes just digressing it all, and in the morning anyway, going, right, let me just, where am I? What am I doing? Like, where are we? Like, and
I was clear on all this yesterday, but then I slept.
Yeah. So lots happened in the last 2 days over the weekend. And I don't know where I am anymore.
Oh God, weekends, jeez.
But so it does help us. Say when we come in on a Monday morning at 9 a.m, 9:30, we are.
I used to do it a few years ago. I used to, last thing on a Friday before we'd head off to the pub, I'd sit and write out what my next week looked like, and kind of then at least I knew come Monday morning I could come back to it. With the use, AI can help you get rid of that. So you open up your time to spend that last half an hour, 40 minutes, finishing a job. And those little small 1%ers over the course of a week, course of a month, course of a year, just enable you to use your time far more efficiently. And at the end of it, create, a better business for us and for everyone else that has their own business.
Yeah, definitely does. I remember, like, when, again, listening to David about it, it's a bit of a wealth of knowledge, and it's almost like there's an air of, oh, is AI gonna then, what jobs is this gonna take away? Is it gonna and there's that there is a whole debate about that at the minute, and it's a big thing, but we've always said it's always about, if you're gonna work at the minute especially, it's okay, let's work with AI. Don't let AI take over. You work with it.
AI will never replace people.
Hmm.
People using AI will replace other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key bit to get your head around. People will look at AI and think, "Oh, I don't need a copywriter anymore because I can write myself a blog in 5 seconds."
Hmm.
Yeah, you can, but is it going to be good? You might go 6 months down the line, realize that the content you're putting out there is no good, and you're calling up that copywriter again, and that copywriter's put their prices up. because you left them and things like that. So I don't think that it will replace people that use it correctly. You talk about kind of low level production, and if you're talking in our space, in a marketing space, if you're kind of a low level base of it, you might be under a bit of threat, because someone that might coming back to the website of things, someone that might create you a Squarespace website or something just off the shelf, a couple of £100, it might start to replace that market for someone that's just kind of getting going. But what it won't do is, as we said earlier, create you something that is completely reflective of your brand, because that brand has come out of a creative mind, a creative space, and that has a journey. I know when I create brands, you have a vision of where this can go and where it can be taken. And I think that's always key to retain. But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what kind of tasks it does. It might, day-to-day admin roles might become less required in the workplace when you start to use things like Reclaim, start to use other scheduling software, you start to automate invoices and things like that. That's the sort of thing for AI that I think is really powerful, because it will help rather than replace.
Yeah, because it's taking away time from our, we're saving 30 minutes, half an hour, 30 minutes and half an hour. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. But it's about half an hour or so a week.
Yeah,
we're probably saving, which in our
well, you just have to
sphere is quite fast.
Look at meetings as well. I use a system called, I think it's called Read AI. And as soon as I go on to, so it's a little bit strange actually, when I go into a Zoom meeting, this little attendee pops up. And it's like this Read AI meeting notes, and people are like, "Who's this?" And I'm like, no, that's just something. It's an AI thing. It's not someone else that I've just invited.
Yeah. It's just Ash. Don't worry about it.
Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
But but what it will do then, straight away, about 5 minutes after the meeting finishes, great. I get an email come through of, "Oh, hey, by the way, here's what you talked about in that meeting, and here's all the discussion points, and here's what you said you're going to do, and here's what they said they're going to do," and it just means you can be far more tuned into a conversation with somebody like you and I are right now, instead of like hearing something and think, "Oh, I must note that down," and then you don't really hear what they say next because you're thinking, "Well, so note taking, massive help."
Yeah, I think what and we've spoken about just a few there, but there's so much.
Haven't even talked about generative fill.
Oh, I mean, again, in our sphere,
that's what
massive.
A lifesaver that is.
I know. I remember the day we found that.
So eureka moment,
discovered
wasn't it?
Oh my god, it was unbelievable. We were like, right, let's just test it, and then we did it and went, and we literally at the same time, you're like,
we just kind of looked at each other, didn't we? We're like, oh my god,
it was fantastic. But there's so much stuff. Again, someone like David will know that helps more,
and that helps as well. It helps us service people better, because, and we're not talking about add a realistic looking lion to this picture. That's not the kind of thing we use it for. It's, say somebody, and how many times have we had to ask people, and this comes from the soul, if someone sent us some print ready artwork and it doesn't have crop and bleed, or the text is really close to the edge, so it's going to get printed and that's going to get chopped off because there's a tolerance level, and people are like, what's crop and bleed? What do I need to do? Oh, I don't know where this file's come from. Can you do it? Now, just in a generative expand in Adobe InDesign and other platforms are able to do it as well. Suddenly, all the backgrounds are extended out, and it looks real.
Yeah, I remember it's someone supplies. Yeah, if for whatever reason we're using if we're using stock imagery, and it's so someone supplied some imagery, and it's here's an image we've got for a header or for a hero image or whatever on the website, but it's in portrait. It's a portrait image. It's like, don't worry about it. We can make that landscape now.
Yeah.
And we can do that. And
taking your photo, but it's portrait. Oh, right, okay.
But it can just fill,
but people used to kind of say this. People used to say, "Oh, you can make that work, can't you? You can kind of just just stretch it,
Photoshop
it." But now you actually can. So the things that we used to laugh about and say, "Oh, yeah, like you want me to fill this space with that, but fill it, but not too big because then my head's off the top of it." But now actually it can be done. So it's another thing of how marketing agencies can use it to enhance their offering and just help the customer, save time for yourself and the customer, save money for yourself and the customer, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, I agree. It makes our life a bit easier to say, and without as conning, I guess, the a customer too much, because it's more so it's how we use it, how it's not going to take over. We're not going to say, right, well, AI is doing everything for us now. It's actually, we're utilizing it in different ways.
It's being smart. It's knowing when to use it and when to let your own expertise take over.
Yeah.
It's like I say, it really helps to get you started and just polish things and just, bring it in to help you on little bits that before would have taken up your time, eaten into, your profit margins on a job because you're spending too much time on it. And that's just for us in a marketing agency. There are so many other applications of it. I'm thinking like chatbots. I know Amazon particularly use some very high-powered AI on their kind of chatbots, and that's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And chatbots isn't a new thing, of course. It's always been around. But how many times have you been talking to a robot and you're like, I just want to talk to a person?
Oh, yeah.
But we're now in a space where AI is starting to learn the kind of responses that a human would give, and you can actually have human conversations rather than, oh, by this, it looks like you're looking for this, and it sends you to an article.
Yeah,
something.
Let's say those automated responses are getting smarter and smarter.
I was talking to someone recently actually who, you can go and ask ChatGPT a question, and it will bring you all sorts of information. You don't really know where it's come from. You don't know if it's made it up. Uneducated guesses and stuff that ChatGPT does occasionally do, because when I've used it for code help on certain websites, it's sometimes guesses and sometimes you challenge it and it's like, and it will come back to you and say something like, yeah, I thought it would work. And you're like, right, well, it doesn't know. But anyway, I know he's built this platform off the back of kind of ChatGPT. There's a technical term for it, and I can't for the life of me remember it. But essentially what it is you feed it the information. So I'm thinking like local councils. He used the example of he's quite involved with a local football club. So there's a kind of grassroots FA handbook that's probably like that thick. It's got so much stuff in it. And you feed all the information into this platform. It learns it, digests it, and then you just go and ask a question. He used an example. He'd done it for Southwell or Southall, however you say it. Council.
Yeah, people in the comments now like, all right, this isn't how you do it.
Do we have a high Southwell Southall listening viewership? I don't know, but and he showed me an example. He said, "I have a blue badge. Where can I park?"
Right.
And it would answer it as if you just asked someone on a text message, saying, "Oh, these places are available for blue badge parking," because it's read the information you've given it. It's not guessing. It's not taking information from all over different corners of the web. That you can control where the information sources are coming from to your end user that's asking the question, and that is where I think AI will start to go for larger businesses. I think they'll start to buy into that because they can keep control of what information they're giving.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we could be here for hours, but
We could.
we'll. I think we'll wrap it up there.
I think so, yeah. So that was a kind of brief overview into AI on Marketing Matters with me and him. Join us again next time when we'll be talking about something completely different within the world of marketing. We look forward to having you with us. Bye for now.